Everybody. JD, could you switch that over to being gallery view instead of speaker view?
Yep.
Hi, Gil. Everybody's got a close-up of your face right now on the large projection screen here. So we're going to switch it so we've got a Brady Bunch up there instead of just one person. So welcome to Rotary, everybody. Let's be seated. For a reflection today, I have a quick, roll straight to song. I'm all out of whack because we're in person and now we have a piano.
No, we do reflection.
We'll do reflection first, right?
Yeah.
So I'm offering the reflection today, and then I will pass around a clipboard to everybody in the room, and I'll ask you to sign up for something for next week. And then those that are online, feel free to chime in and add something for next week as well. And this one's fitting for me, and as we return to in-person here and hopefully continue to have a great future. It's a prayer or a verse that I was given recently. For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. So, as we look to the future here, as we have hope to return, I'm glad that we're all here together. So thank you all. Now we'll jump into song time. Today, the music committee has selected with our throwback songbooks here. These are not the ones we normally use, but we can't find the ones we normally use. So we're going to sing number 1 in our songbooks today, R-O-T-A-R-Y.
Most good serves the best. R-O-T-A-R-Y.
Thank you, Gail, for tickling the keys today. It was nice to hear that ringing through the room. Announcements for today. I want to thank everybody who came to the district gathering last Friday. I saw Jerry and Gail there and a few others, and it was really great to see so many friendly faces. Either one of you want to add anything to that for that gathering? No? Gail's going to have some comments in a couple minutes. Who's got some good news to share? Anybody got good news to share for the day? I'll kick us off. We have our basket back out, and our sergeant at arms is back in the room.
On my feet.
You don't have to be on your feet. They can see you on camera, and everybody else can be here. You enjoy yourself. I've got mine going in. My wife and I agreed on a house yesterday, so we are all set to close on July 2nd. That was quick.
You got yours sold yet?
We don't have a house, so it makes it easier. We don't have contingency on that. So there's mine. It was great to see everybody last week, and so I've got a closing date of July 2nd. So June 30th will most likely be my last meeting in person here, but I'll gladly continue to join on Zoom.
I got some good news.
I have a speech to make if when you're ready for me.
We're welcome to have you with a speech when it's time. We'll let we have somebody else on the call, and then
It'll be a short speech.
It'll be a short one. Okay, that's good.
Now,
Go for it, Will.
Huh?
Go for it.
All right.
You can give your speech.
If I can get up without breaking my neck. This
You don't have to stand up if you don't want to.
Just every year, every month. A year ago, if you remember, you had a little celebration in front of my house. Some of you came for my 90th. Well, this Sunday is my 91.
Yes.
By donating to the club 91 bucks. 92, you get 92 next year. Probably won't make it as far as city banking, instead of 96, but stuff like that. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for your attention. And if anybody has any joke complexes, I'll run around here and take their money if you want to donate it, man.
Let me tag up that.
Okay.
If I can. So Rick mentioned the gathering last Friday night, and then just get together. So several people from our club were there. Gil was there, Rick,
Thank you.
Ella, Jerry, Sharon Lorinskas, myself, were the only ones I remember. So as my last official interim sergeant at arms duty, I was going to find everyone else who was not at that event. People traveled from far and wide to come to Carbondale. And we had an okay representation, but it should have been better since all we had to do was drive across town to get there. So if you weren't there, chip in.
We had somebody on the call who had something to say. Oh, I see Jerry. Go ahead, Jerry.
Yes, I mentioned a couple of weeks back, I had a house full of furniture to donate to the warming center. And I'd like to try to move some of that furniture. It's not big, there's no couches, and they're mainly chairs. And we'd like to try to do that this Saturday morning. Both Gil and I have pickup trucks available. If anybody else has one, that's great too. Do it early in the day before it gets hot. Should only take about maybe an hour and a half. We have maybe 4 or 5 people there. So if it's raining, obviously we won't be doing it because there's too much outdoor exposure to the furniture. But plan on being there at 8:30 in the morning. You need to know where it is. It's at 111 Hillhaven Drive. 111 Hillhaven Drive. Maybe Shane will get that in the chat part of that. If you can't remember that, you know where my house is. I'm on the end of the cul-de-sac, and this house is on the very first house on the way in. So remember, this is a Rotary project. We're donating this. This is one of the 100 small items. Okay.
Well, I paid a small fine today for a small achievement. I won a medal at the Relay for Life race in Murfreesboro. But it was a virtual race, and so I was able to kind of do it at my own speed on my own time. But they told me they would give me a medal if I went and put a picture of myself with the shirt and medal on for Facebook, because I have a lot of friends. So I'll take it. I'll take it. I have my medal. So.
Gil, do you have an announcement? Alan did?
Yeah, as of today, my wife Barbara and I have been married 65 years.
We're here.
For both of you.
Anyone else with good news to share today? Sergeant at Arms, anything else?
Will? Any other fines, Will?
Pardon?
Any other fines today? Anything else you need to levy?
I've done the collection.
You've done your rounds.
You're gonna have to give me a few, meetings to get this under my belt. I'm not sure how to handle this.
We'll make it work. Thank you, sir.
Just don't put the money in your pocket.
All right. Well, we'd like to welcome our guest speaker today, Mr. J.D. Tanner with SIU. Thank you for joining us. And the floor is yours. And after your presentation, we'll jump over to question and answer.
All right. Give me a couple of minutes to get set up here and share my screen. Post disabled. Okay.
I can change
I'll
that.
request permission to share my screen.
You are now a co-host.
Okay. Let's
Hi, everybody on the call. I'll turn you back around shortly so you can see the room.
That wasn't a good transition. Oh, there it is. Okay. Hopefully everyone can see there at home. I know that we can see here. Well, again, thanks for having me. My name is J.D. Tanner, and I am the director at Touch of Nature Environmental Center, owned and operated by SIU. It's been a long time since I've been here to see you, but I know I've been in at least maybe 2 times, maybe even 3. And the last few times that I visit, I've talked about some of our programs. And then I think just before COVID, or sometime before COVID, I had visited and talked about one of our special projects, which was our mountain bike trail project that we've been working on out there. So oddly, as much as COVID hindered a lot of folks, COVID actually was good for us to get this project done because it eliminated all of the other things off of our plate for a long time, and we were able to focus. We got approval to continue working on our mountain bike trail project. And so that was March of last year, whenever everything got kind of crazy for us, and we actually broke ground and started building in April. So the chancellor back then, Dr. Dunn, gave approval for that. So in the slideshow today, I'm going to go through and kind of catch you all up on where that project is at and give you an idea of what's next for us.
So your sharing is paused.
Sharing is paused. Okay.
Just want to stop sharing and start.
It's not even letting me arrow up to that. There it is. Sorry, a couple of technical difficulties here.
Welcome to the world of Zoom.
Yeah.
So your screen sharing now. You're good there.
Okay. But it doesn't want to let me go into the slideshow. Was that the problem? Yeah. All right. Well, we'll kind of limp through it then, and and hopefully you all can see the screen here with.
Well, I've done this view in the past.
Yeah.
Should work. Can everybody see on the call?
Okay. All right. We'll just kind of limp through it here a little bit. I apologize for that. So numbers wise for everybody on the outdoor recreation industry in the United States, consumers are spending about $887 billion a year to get outdoors and recreate. And if you could see the full chart, those of you in the room, you would see that the only areas that people are spending more money are places like healthcare and insurance. Other than that, the outdoor industry is out competing a lot of other places, including oil and gas, just to give you an example of where today's consumers are spending.
That guy.
Oh, there you go. Perfect. Nice. So as we start to break that whole outdoor industry down, which includes everything from hiking and canoeing and hunting and fishing, as we start to break that down into the biking world, you can see in our region of the 5 states, consumers are spending about $17 billion a year just in our 5 states to get outdoors and ride a bike. And that could be anything from road biking to mountain biking. Locally, because there currently, well, until May the 1st, there were no designated mountain bike trails in Southern Illinois. About the only thing that we could go off of for research was the Tunnel Hill Trail. And you can see some older research from 2003 shows that in 2002, about 79,000 people visited and used the Tunnel Hill Trail, which is pretty good numbers. 62% of them were not local, and they spent about $146 locally when they came and visited. So you kind of get the idea of the impact that biking can have on a community from a tourism standpoint. A few rough numbers to throw out at you. Over 40 million people in the US ride a mountain bike. 62% there again of those riders travel more than 500 miles to ride new trail systems. Riders average about 3 trips per year, and those trips average about $382 per trip. And until May the 1st and the end of May, there were no designated mountain biking trails in Southern Illinois. So we opened up our trail system on May the 1st out of Touch of Nature. And then actually Lake Glendale, part of the Forest Service, opened up at the end of May. So they opened up 19 miles and Touch of Nature opened up 10 miles. I'm going to skip past, well, you know what? This next slide plays right into Bentonville, Arkansas slide. Anybody ever been to Bentonville, Arkansas? It's kind of turned into the mecca of mountain biking in at least in the Midwest. But actually just 2 years ago, they were nominated or elected the destination in the United States for mountain biking. So they beat out Colorado, Utah, all the places that you would think to go for mountain biking. Everyone was going to Bentonville, Arkansas. And in a report that they put out a couple of years ago, 2018, bicycling only provided $25 million in consumer spending to their area. In addition to that, the locals, the residents, were spending about $20 million in the community to go biking. So you can see the big number impact that combined on that, bicycling in Northwest Arkansas, just Northwest Arkansas, about $137 million in benefits to the economy annually is what their reports are showing. So when I visited here before COVID, I presented this map as what our conceptual plan is. The green, the blue, the red, the black, that's about 30 miles of trail. That's a possibility at Touch of Nature, with the possibility of more down there in that southeast corner as well, those shaded areas. And so we got a grant a couple of years ago for $200,000 from the federal recreational trail program grant. And then along with some private donations and some other in-kind donations, we've been able to start moving this project forward. So like I said, we started building in April, and where we're at right now, of that conceptual plan, the dotted lines on there don't exist, but the solid lines that you can see here, this big blue loop, all of these blue loops and these green lines and loops, that all exists now. So on May the 1st, we opened up those 10 miles of trail. We opened up a 33-car parking lot, and we opened up a kids terrain park that has a pump track in it and some other little features for kids to learn how to ride mountain bikes. So parking lot there on the left, the kids terrain park, and then of course those 10 miles of trail to give you an idea of what that looks like, a mountain bike trail. And then again, there's that, what that progress looks like for us. $22,000 for a professional concept and design. We've spent about another $20,000 on archaeological and botany surveys. We've got volunteers that have been working with us, and that's ongoing. The parking lot was an in-kind donation from E.T. Simons. The Kids Terrain Park was a private donation from the Rosenberger family. And then those 10 miles of trail came from that grant. It's kind of where we're at. And then there's still several things that we're working on at this point. So we opened in May, and then so now we immediately kind of moved into phase 2 of our building is where we're at right now. So phase 2, we hope to build or find the funding to build another 7 miles of trail. We've already got the trail marked, and we've already got funding squared away for more surveying of the trail for archaeological and botany purposes. So now we're looking for about another $150,000 to $200,000 to build that next 7 miles of trail. But other opportunities that exist, so the parking lot that exists right now is on the left-hand side of that picture. On the right-hand side, we're looking to develop what we're calling the landing zone area, which would be some pavilions and some restrooms and some outdoor fire pits, so that when you pull up and park, there'd be an event center space over there. So when we're doing races and events, everyone would have a place to go to afterwards and do award ceremonies, things like that. We've got some places just kind of out in the woods that some of us might never see that are called pump and jump areas. So there'd be a series of hills and bridges and things like that built that bikers would be able to enjoy while they're out on those 10, 20, and 30 miles worth of trail. Right next to the kids park. So I don't know how many of you all might be familiar, but at Touch of Nature, the football team used to come out in the 50s and the 60s and they would practice. And we have a old football field out in the middle of the woods, so it's still cleared. Well, we built the kids pump track at the southern end of that. And we want to build an adult, what we're calling the touchdown bike park at the northern end of that. So that's a future plan for us, as well as that other 20 miles that we want to build in that conceptual plan. So a lot of work still to go for us, but last year was actually a really productive year for us. Benefits, hopefully that we can kind of already see what I'm getting at with that are the commerce to the restaurants, the wineries, and the bicycle shops, with all of that tourism coming into the area. For us, a Touch of Nature, we're looking at large scale events like mountain bike races. I think we've got one that's being scheduled right now for June the 26th off the top of my head. Johnny Logan did a virtual one already in May with us. And then we've got another 2 or 3 that we're looking to get planned for the fall. Enhanced quality of life for all of the locals that live in this area, something completely new to do. Because until May, there were no designated mountain bike trails for people to ride on. So hopefully our locals will be interested, and we're already seeing it out there. We're seeing on a sunny day, 15 to 20 cars in the parking lot almost all day long, just throughout the day. The parking lot is pretty full. One of our big goals is the National Interscholastic Cycling Association. We really want to bring high school racing and middle school racing into Illinois. NICA, as it's referred to, is in about 25 or 30 states right now, and Illinois does not have any teams or racing teams. The few racing teams that have developed in the state are going into other nearby states that have leagues where they can race. So we want to see those teams coming here. We want to see Missouri teams, Kentucky teams, Tennessee teams coming here for regional races. And then, of course, there's the retention and the recruitment opportunities that exist for SIU. Just new things for students to do, new things for faculty and staff to do, just giving everybody opportunities to get outdoors and enjoy. So that's kind of where that whole gig is at for us. It took me 7 years to get to this point, but we have designated mountain biking trails in Southern Illinois, so I'm pretty excited about that. Yeah, thank you. Any questions?
So we need to show up and access the trail if you reserve fee.
Yeah, so if you're driving down Giant City Road and if you're familiar with the main entrance to Touch of Nature, you would simply pull in to the east, and almost immediately the parking lot is on the left-hand side. It's a gravel parking lot, and you can pull in and you can park, and there's a suggested $3 per car donation there. So that's what we suggest. If you want to do annual memberships or annual passes for parking, you can do that as well. $40 for an annual, or you can look at some of our membership opportunities that includes a parking pass. And our members get VIP opportunities to come out for canoeing and paddling events and other types of things. At Maple Fest, we do VIP seating for our members and stuff like that.
Are there hiking opportunities, or is it strictly mountain bikes?
Good question. So I try to slap myself on the hands every time that I call them mountain biking trails. They're multi-use trails. So they're for hikers, for bikers, and for runners. And some people get a little scared thinking about hiking on a trail with mountain bikers, but it really isn't an issue. The only time it would ever be an issue is if there was a race day going on, in which you would be warned very well at the trailhead that there's a race going on, and you would be encouraged probably to hike somewhere else. In fact, on a lot of race days, we'll probably just close it to other users for the day. But there's right now in the morning, there's usually 4 or 5 cars parked there every morning of a group that's coming out and they hike every morning together.
Can I ask a question?
That's okay.
What's the surface?
Good. That's actually a good question. So if you're used to like Tunnel Hill, you know, that's gravel around here. Mountain bike trails are not gravel. They're dirt. They're hardened dirt surfaces. Probably 99% of our trails are all dirt surfaces. There'll be some wooden bridges that you might cross in a few areas, and you might hit a gravel spot here and there. But for the most part, it's about 36-inch wide, and it's a dirt surface trail.
You have to go and compact it down.
We did. So that's where the money piece comes in. That's why it sounds like a lot of money for dirt trails, but for $200,000, there were machines that went through the forest for us for about 6 or 7 months, and they scraped off all of the topsoil, and they came back and compacted down the clay soil, and they would build little what are called berms and turns on those trails so that a bike can come and it can hit kind of a little turn and not have to go shooting down off of the trail and stuff like that.
Do you have bike rental available? Can people come down and rent equipment to?
We don't currently rent bikes ourselves. We think that some of the bike shops are probably going to eventually start to get into that business now with some of the stuff opening up in this area. We have a small fleet of bikes ourselves that are used for classes and for camps and stuff like that. If we had like a paying group, say Sharon wanted to bring her family of 10 people out, we could outfit them with bikes if they wanted to pay for a guided program from us.
So
But we don't just do a general rental at walk-up rental stuff.
But you do classes and private use stuff like that.
The university actually has an academic class in the fall for mountain biking. But then Touch of Nature, we're not promoting those things yet. We're still working up to, but we will be providing camps and programs for that.
I can see that as a potential future partnership. I work with Boy Scouts, and I just participated in a 30-mile adventure race.
And you guys came through part of us. Yep.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yep.
But that would have been a neat thing to add in there. Is hey, now in addition to canoeing from the old Camp Manitoba over to, I think we actually canoed to Touch of Nature. Okay, now that you've done canoeing across the lake so many times, now you're going to have to jump on a bike and do,
Yep.
So I can see some partnerships with things like that down the line.
We imagine that starting to develop as well, especially things like the adventure races and the triathlons and stuff like that with us, because we do have multi-use trails and we sit on a lake. It's just a matter of time before those types of races start to develop with us as well. Go ahead. Go ahead, Sharon.
Well, it's my question, but I'm so proud that the customs in Rotary Breakfast Club here in Carbondale is the president gets to choose what the grant will be. So the year I was president, our grant was working on the trails. And let me tell you, some of the old guys who came out on our designated Saturday, small amount of money for tools.
It was, that's what I was going to say. It was a huge support to start to build our volunteer group, though, because now our tool cache has really grown, and our volunteers. I mean, on a volunteer day, we'll see 20 or 25 people come out, and because of that donation, we're able to outfit everybody with tools, hard hats, gloves, everything. Yeah.
Just curious how you handle things like erosion, creating trails, and how you do the archaeological mitigations, but are you having to deal with environmental restrictions and soil conservation and erosion control, those kind of things like that?
Yeah, all of that stuff plays into the original design and the layout of the trail. So that's why we paid $20,000 to somebody to come in and give us a professional design, because they come in and they are going to look at the lay of the land and say, yeah, you're going to get much less erosion if you run your trail through this corridor as opposed to just straight down the hill. You know, around this area, we're probably used to hiking hills just straight up, and that is your erosion is going to happen. And so, you know, on a mountain bike trail, especially, you're going to see switchbacks, which are going to eliminate a lot of that trail erosion and those issues. But it all comes to that layout and having that really good person in the field that can lay that trail out for you to prevent that. I'll say now that the trails have been open for a while, we are coming back. Our volunteers have to come back about weekly as we start with, especially with this rain. We're seeing where the issues are. Even with a professionally laid out trail, we're still going to have issues. So our volunteers come back and they'll do rock work in areas that are eroding. So they just come back, and instead of just packing more dirt in there or whatever, we just come back with rocks and fix those bad areas. But yeah, it's an ongoing, it will be an ongoing process for us.
Can you repeat how many miles are open right now?
Yeah, so there are 10 miles that are currently open for hikers, for bikers, and for runners out there. And then our system is it's what's called a stacked loop system. And so when you saw the picture of all of our trails, a lot of riders will come out and they're going to choose a series of different loops. So while we have 10 actual miles of trail, depending on how you stack your loops, you can walk away riding 20 to 25 miles with us after one day without seeing the exact same. You're not just riding the same loop over and over again. You're getting a different feel each round that you go.
Your computer's mad at you.
Oh no, okay.
Shane, you have a question?
Yeah, Shane? No, okay.
No? You had mentioned that you guys do classes for group. You'll do that. Do you have a flyer or promotion piece for that? Where can people go to find that information?
Right now, you can find our stuff on our website at ton.siu.edu. We don't have mountain bike specific stuff up yet because it's just so new for us from a programming standpoint. You're going to start to see that from us next spring is when you're going to start to see some of our actual programming camps and stuff like that for next summer. We'll have at least one mountain bike camp out there and stuff like that.
Because I can see that being an activity that a troop would use. Our council covers 63 counties across Missouri and Illinois.
Yep.
And to say, okay, come down to Pine Ridge, spend a weekend at Pine Ridge, and you can do a class one day at Touch of Nature that's a mile away.
Yeah.
And do a mountain biking adventure. We already do it with Giant City State Park. We have the climbing gear to be able to go down and do that. So we have some groups that'll come and do that, but to have that mountain biking would be a huge plus.
Yeah, I mean, that's our timeline. That being said, I mean, if you're really wanting to get out there this fall and want to, you just call the office and tell them what you're looking to do, and we'll get you accommodated.
Okay.
Yeah. Anybody else? All right. Well, thanks for having me.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Linda Flowers, can you tell us who's with us here next week?
I could if I had the list in front of me. I'm sorry. Gayla did all the programming for the month of June. I will look it up and email it though.
Look at the month. So it looks like we'll have next week, and then I believe the week after is our grant recipients, and then the following week is our crossover, is our changeover event. So, but we'll get that out to everybody when we find it here, because I thought I had it as well, and I can't find it in front of me either. With that, thank you, Linda. Ginger, would you mind leading us in the four-way test today?
Four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. First.
Is it the truth?
Second.
Is it fair to all concerned?
Third.
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
And fourth.
Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thanks, everybody. Thank you to everybody on the call. Have a great night.
I remember